everyone. Welcome to the Megavision Sideshow, the companion to the companion podcast of Megavision's magazine. This is a podcast for patrons only, where we play through a game and discuss our experiences with said game. So I am Scotty Manmo Temple, the digital content manager of Megavisions, and with me today is Chris Don't Step on My Wude, the editor of Megavisions.
How is it going, Scotty?
Pretty good. Do I have some feelings about my experience with Shenmue 2 this week. Holy moly. But yes, we are playing through Shenmue 2 in preparation for Shenmue 3. As you all know, hop on our Patreon. I'm not going to bother promoting that too much because that's how you're here anyway. So yeah, we started off this section of our journey searching for the 4 Wude. Before we even get into those, I encountered that AI glitch where the AIs all try to go to the same spot at once. I know they mentioned this in the post-mortem of Shenmue. I think you're familiar with this, Chris, how in the first game, when they started up a build of it, the entire town was empty, and they tried to go into the tomato mart, and every AI in the game was in the tomato store, and they couldn't even go in there because every AI's daily routine was the exact same, and they all started out by going to get breakfast at the Tomato Deli Mart place or whatever. So, funny enough, I was outside the Buddhist shrine store, and as soon as I walked out, I tried to talk to the first NPC, and then there was just suddenly a line of 2 more people behind him, like gradually pushing him towards me. And I'm like, what's going on? I can't get out of this conversation until I'm done talking to him. And then I'd finished. And then he was waiting to go into the store. He went into the store, but then there was still a line of 3 people right outside the store, and they didn't move. And then finally he exited that store, and the next person went in. And I haven't seen this in any other part of the game, but they all wanted to go into that store at the same time. It was hilarious.
That is awesome. I just actually read about that original glitch from the first one this past week. So I didn't even really know about it until this past week. And it's kind of funny that you ended up experiencing the same thing in Shenmue 2.
Yeah, it's really goofy. So the thing that happened, so what they had to do to fix it in the first game is they just rerouted the NPCs' daily routines, which again just shows how awesome these games are, that they have an extensive enough schedule that they had to vary them, but like that. And so it's funny because definitely more than one person can fit into that store I walked out of, but I guess it couldn't register more than one person using the door or something weird. I don't know. I don't make video games. I just play them. But I thought it was pretty hilarious. I actually uploaded it onto my, since I played this on PS4, I'm able to just share that video. Maybe I'll toss that into the description of this episode, but it was pretty hilarious. I just didn't understand what was going on, because in this game, the streets are not as narrow as the first game. They're pretty wide open. Mm-hmm. You can stop and you might see anywhere of just 2 to maybe 7 actual NPCs on your screen at once. So it's not that I was in a narrow alley blocking them or anywhere. There was plenty of space to go. Did you encounter an airplane flying over and Rio just stopping everything and staring at it?
Yeah, so that happened. It didn't happen on this playthrough, but it happened a couple times in our first playthrough.
Oh, okay.
It'll happen every so often. I think it happened around dusk when I was leaving Manmo Temple and I was coming down the stairs. The plane came through, and then there was another time closer, I think, closer to the Pigeon Park area, earlier in the game.
Okay.
But I thought that was just a really cool touch for that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of out of nowhere, but it just kind of one of those things where Yu Suzuki and his team is trying to create this living, breathing world, and that's just something that kind of further immerses you in it, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because in Shenmue, it's known for kind of turning, rather than a gradual thing, there's a little snippet of music, and then you can see the sunset or something, or at least the sky change color to signify going to nighttime or the night mode or whatever. And I thought that's what that was at first, but I think I don't know if anything really cues it. I think it is just a random thing that happens, but it really does help the scope of the game, show
Mm.
the scope of the game, and also I thought to myself like, but has Rio actually ever seen an airplane before? Because he just came from this small town and he's in big time China all of a sudden, and he took a boat to get there. So I'm like, you know what? That probably is the first time he's actually seen an actual Airbus in his life.
Interesting. Yeah, that didn't even come to my mind. When you started this playthrough, at what point were you? Because for me, I was, um, or I guess, where was the first place you went to? Like, because we started and we had to go find the four Wudu.
Sure.
Where was your first, uh, I guess, place that you went to find your first piece of the Wudu?
I went to, let's see here. Oh, yes, yes. Okay. Since I already knew about the old man in the park,
Hmm.
I went to him because I thought, well, he was already using some sort of martial arts, so he has to be one of these four people. And the strategy guy had actually mentioned him that we're following. Again, that's linked in the description here every week. But um, so, and his name is Jeanmon, I believe it's how Rio pronounces it. But yeah, that's where I went first, just kind of out of luck. I mean, that's where I was going to go anyway,
Hmm.
because I thought there's no way that that old man, because A, there's nowhere you can just practice your moves, and B, at least that I found anyway, and B, there's no way that he was only there for that one conversation and that he's not going to teach me something else later in the game. So I figure he has to be a bigger part of this than just one random encounter earlier on. So that's where I went first. Where did you go first? And that is Gone. Is that one Gon?
Okay, I went to the mall first. Oh, okay,
Oh,
so well,
okay.
I went to the it was the other temple. It was like the monk temple. I forget what it's called now. I didn't put that in my notes.
Oh,
I
the
should have.
actual school, the martial arts school.
The martial arts school, and you talk to him, the master. Which I that wasn't the first time I had talked to him, but you go and you tell him that you're searching for the voodoo, and he basically says something to the effect of that he's no longer worthy of the voodoo because he lost one of his students, and his student is now kind of lost his way, and he works as a street performer in this mall in the next town over, and so he so you set out to find him. He gives you find the location, and you go there, and you walk into this big mall, and I've started walking around the mall just to kind of see
Yeah,
what was
I was
there.
really blown away when I walked in there. I was like, "There's a whole mall in this game."
But every store in the mall is closed. Like,
Yep.
and they're all pretty much the same store. They're just
Yeah,
selling the same clothes and like purses and handbags.
and
Um,
sweetmeats.
right. But inside the mall, as you walk up, there's like two staircases on either side. In the middle, there's like three or four performers, and they're one of them has like fire, and one has like a bow staff and a sword, I think. And there's a big group of people around them, and there's probably like at least a dozen to 15 people just watching it all. But I don't know because you're playing on PS4, but
Hmm.
my Dreamcast was chugging. Like it
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah. There was some really bad slowdown,
Huh.
and the frame rate drops just really, really bad. Um,
Oh.
just
Nah,
being around there.
I didn't encounter anything. It was running fine. It didn't even really at least not to the point that I was like, "Holy crap, what's going on?" It was running fine. I didn't even think that might be why like in retrospect it's amazing that there was all that going on in one spot because that didn't happen in the first game and probably was pushing the Dreamcast like you said, but the fact that like I wasn't even phased by it shows, just how far games have come, I guess.
Right. Oh, for sure. And so then you look around, and then you go up and you talk to him. You find him basically on like a floor mat off to the side. He's sleeping, and you start talking to him, and he quickly realizes that you're Japanese and you know martial arts, and he figures out that he can use you to make some quick money. And so he starts announcing that, hey, come and see this, Japanese martial arts expert break this stone with his hand. And I'm like, oh shit, that's
Yeah,
sounds like
wait,
that's not going to be easy.
right. I was like, no, 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 that's not. This has to be like an auto fail. A human being can't just break a stone. What's going on?
And so a crowd gathers around. They says like, if he can do it, please, donate some money or whatever. And basically what happens is you see this in this game quite a lot, where you have that ring where it has all the little circles around it, and you have to time your strike as the circular meter gets all the way like to the highest spot. And you
Right.
do that a couple times. The first time I did it, I failed all 3 times. I
Oh
did
yeah.
not
No,
bring it.
it was a joke because it doesn't like it's not. I don't know if it means to be, but Shenmue's not very rhythmic in terms of its moves sometimes
Mhm.
or the quick time events. So yeah, that little circular meter that fills up, when it fills up the yellow at first, like you figure that out, and you figure out it's going to be like neuro, neuro, neuro. Okay, hit the button. But then
Mhm.
as soon as you hit the button, the blue is not at all in the same rhythm as that. So it's like neuro, neuro. Okay, hit it, neuro, and then the blue is come and gone real quick. Like it. So I didn't succeed at all the first couple of times because I was just ready for a completely different setup, I guess. Yeah.
I failed it, and so I was like, "Oh crap! I don't know what this is going to happen." But it was one of those that it restarts for you, and so I was
Right.
able to try it again, and I did it the first time after that. So I think it was just probably more luck than anything else. So yeah, I did that, and then you
Oh, I
tell
want to
him.
touch on real quick. The directions didn't help either because it was like when the meter or when it is more yellow, or it said something like that. I'm like, more yellow is orange. So does it turn orange? I don't understand. And then I failed.
Mm,
So
that's
yeah, but
hilarious.
sorry, you were saying.
No, so after you successfully do it, people throw in some money, and you tell him about how you've met his master, and he basically says that he's now powerless after he was expelled, and then his name's it's Zong Quan Bai. I don't know if that's how it's proper pronunciation, but that's the guy's name that you're talking to,
Right.
and he says that he gives you a letter to give back to his master. So you go back and give it to him, and he realizes that I guess that he can maybe come back. I can't remember exactly what the resolution was with that part.
It was I don't know. It was a little hard to read, I think, but I think what they were getting at was that he is not totally lost, but he's probably not coming back to the temple, but he's not a complete lost cause as a student.
Right. He says I've broken G, but cannot get rid of Tune nor Fist.
Hmm.
So I guess he still has the spirit of what he was, his teachings inside him. So then uh, the the master gives him one of the Wude. And was that
Right.
G that he gave him?
Yeah, that was the overall. This is G that you're talking
Hmm.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally bypassed his crazy ass hobo hair, though. Uh,
That was weird. Yeah, we
I
probably
would.
should talk about that.
I thought at first it was a Davy Crockett hat. It is not. It is his hair. It is an upside down haystack.
Could you imagine he's
I,
just wearing a coonskin cap in China?
yeah, that's which I mean, which would have made, I don't know. They've got TV.
Oh,
Maybe he's seen Davy Crockett or something. But I was just like, yeah. You also do start out by seeing him on the floor in the mall. I'm like, well, I guess he's got his hobo spot picked out because it's at least indoors. And then he stands up, and I'm just like, ho, whoa, dude. Um,
it does
yeah,
more like straw, like black straw than hair.
yes, yes, yes.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, he's got something going on. But yeah, that was G. The one that I found first was Gone by talking to Jeanmon in the park there with the big red tree. I can't remember what the park's called. Ah, fuck. But he
Lotus Park,
teaches.
maybe.
Yes, yeah. Lotus Park. He teaches you Iron Palm.
Mm.
And that is my favorite move in the first game was where Ryu basically creates a wall with his hands and brings his body up to the enemy, and you just hear that like thump.
Hmm.
And the Iron Palm is almost kind of a one-handed, kind of not as powerful version of this because you don't bring your body up, but he does like extend his arm and pretty much make a wall with just one of his palms more than the other one. Um, but yeah, he has you. punch a tree pretty much until leaves fall down and cover the ground. I barely got the timing down of this at first, but it was pretty easy once because I was reading it wrong. I thought it wanted. I keep reading the moves in here more as like 2D fighting game moves. So I
Hmm.
thought when it said to hit like well on the on the PlayStation controller, it's square and X, or X and A on Xbox and Dreamcast, or whichever. But so I kept thinking it was like, okay, square X, but you just have to hit them at the same time. Um,
They get a lot more difficult as we get further in the game. I do remember that because it's just very vague on what they say. It's like move forward and move back and kick and punch at the same time, and it's like what, like
yeah,
it's just very vague. Like move backwards and do something, and there's no actual directional combination that it tells you to do until you do it. Until you
right.
master the move, then it'll show you like this is how you use the move. And so it's really a lot of just trial and error until you finally just figure it out, or you happen to press the right button combination out of pure luck.
Yep.
But this one was I was able to figure that out. But then he makes you go to the tree, right?
Yeah.
And then you're back to that same fucking like circular tile again, which that took me a long time to do because it seemed like you have to figure it out because the first time it would go fill up, it would only fill up like 1 meter of the yellow and then come back. And then you have to wait,
Oh
it would
yes.
fill up more. And so it took me a minute to kind of figure that out. But even still, it was really hard because it would go very fast. So it's hard to just get your timing down.
Yep. Yeah. The it still isn't coherent in the rhythm of that circle. The Yeah, because I did have a harder time with this than breaking the rock open with my hand, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was a weird thing, and I missed the Dreamcast version because it would just show you the move on the VMU sometimes. It would just have it up on its little screen there.
I'm gonna have to
But
look at that if it does that because I've
yeah, I
not
don't
been
know.
paying attention to that. Maybe I should.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, you have to cover the ground in leaves by hitting the tree hard enough, and then there is a cool cinematic for that one. I'll admit, more dramatic than slicing a rock in half,
Hmm.
but it's pretty neat, and it's a very scenic and cinematic. And I realized that the little cutscenes like this may be my favorite parts because they don't necessarily not the major ones, because this doesn't really push the plot along too drastically, but it kind of reminds me of just that quality of life stuff, like kind of like you're watching Karate Kid or something.
Hmm.
Just kind of a little progression of the character themselves. But yeah, you talk to him, you learn a move. What is it called here? Oh yeah, I already said that, Iron Palm. Um, so that's pretty neat. And I was taking a bunch of pictures during this time, and I noticed when I went to look at my pictures that as they're loading, there's a picture of a floppy disk before they load on the
Oh, that's
menu.
great.
Yeah, I was like, because I guess I hadn't scrolled through quick enough to know that or to know that they were loading each time. But yeah, then let's see here. Oh, when I was walking around after that, I finally played one of those games with just a bowl on a table. And it's just dudes throwing a pair of die into a bowl, and you basically they roll first and you roll second, and if you get a higher roll, you win. I don't even know what the name of it's called, but I'm just like, this is a game that people are making money off of on the side of the streets. um, so that was something, because I was trying to find just different stuff to do, because I ended up having to kill time in between different things. Did you check out the marketplace at all at night? The on Market Street?
One thing that I did do that I hadn't ever done before is like, outside of the mall. I walked around that area,
Oh yeah,
and which I've never really done that before. Usually, I'm just running back and forth and just trying to, continue the storyline. But this time, I was like, I want to take some time, and so I went to the like the slot machine place.
oh
I don't know if you've
yeah.
been there
I like
before.
the music in there. Yeah,
I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, I really dig this music. It was kind of like a an upbeat. I don't know how you would describe it, but it sounded
yeah.
really cool.
It's jazzier and it's upbeat, and it's very different. I mean, it's a different atmosphere as soon as you walk in there from any other part of the game.
I started with only like $20 when I started the game today, or
Hmm.
this time around. So obviously the hotel, uh, the guy that runs the hotel was pissed off at me right away because I couldn't pay him.
I totally avoided him by hugging the wall. It really works.
That's
he didn't even
awesome.
say anything to me.
So then I went and immediately lost all my money in the slot machines.
There you go.
I did not win. So I was like, this is why I don't play the slots. And then I went to another bar where there was a dude playing darts and was complaining that he didn't bring his own darts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I didn't encounter him. I finally did encounter the super racist dude who just assumes everyone Japanese has the same last name or whatever.
Oh, was he? But that was over in Pigeon Park, right?
Yes, yeah, that was closer to there. Yeah. So and that, but I didn't encounter the dude that he forgot his darts or something. So what do you have to do for that?
You don't even get to play with them. This is in a bar outside of the mall. And he's just playing darts, and you could talk to him a couple times. You don't get the opportunity to play with him, but he's just saying like, these house darts suck ass, and he's just throwing them. He's like, I should have brought my own darts. He's just really crabby and mad. And then I think there might be some like hostess girls in there too or something. Because there's this. They're all sitting at different tables, and they're just sitting by themselves, and you could go up and talk to them and ask them about martial arts. And they're like, I don't know, get out of here.
Talk about. Yep.
Ryu has no ability to talk to women at all. Like zero. He's all business. Like he doesn't like. It's so funny, the lines, like, because he just seems to just like not see like women at all. It's just,
all women, or I mean, all business and no tact.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually play darts, and I might, like, if I need money, I might just keep playing darts, because I totally schooled a guy, that racist dude, because I was like, all right, I did okay with this in the first game, but let's see if it's changed at all, and it sure hasn't. So he was, and I think it probably differs from bar to bar, character to character that you meet in there, but unfortunately you can't wager more. I thought that the game would actually let me wager more than I have, since I was doing so well, and just win instead, and then like maybe I wouldn't have to pay him back. I don't know, or just give him like all of my money till I had zero, even though I bet 200 and only had like $60. But no, darts is, once you learn the weird mechanics of that game, it's not too crazy hard. So, I mean, I made more money doing that than I did lifting stupid boxes in less of an amount of time.
I did play darts a lot in Shenmue 1, but I have not really done it too much in Shenmue 2. So I'm gonna make that a point this next week.
Yeah, if you're low on cash, definitely try it, because that was an easier way to get some extra money for me to buy Gashapon. I found the random virtual on Gashapon machine. Did you see that at all?
No.
Or the gacha machine? It's in, oh shoot, did I take a picture of it? I'll have to find it here. But it's when you are in the Lucky Charm. The Lucky pawn shop. Okay. If you're looking at that, there's a stair. There's some stairs that just go down to an alley where there's nothing else, and at the end of it is the virtual on gacha machine, which I haven't. That's the only place I've seen a virtual on machine so far. So it was pretty cool. I got a couple out of there, and so it didn't feel totally worthless finding this random alley with nothing in it. But then let's see what my next one was here. The Market Street was cool. I mentioned that. I don't know if I think it's more filled up at night, but you just walk down this random part of the city where there's books for sale. There's like chickens and ducks hanging up that are, cooked and ready to go. There's clothing. There's like bowls of beans. It's pretty populated. There's a dude in a clown shirt, like a dying clown face that just says, "I love Jet City" on it. I don't know what that was about, but I took a picture of that. But it was cool. Oh, and also when I was walking around in the bar that I was playing darts, to go back to that real quick, I noticed a TV in the corner above the karaoke mic, and the screen just said Legend of Shenmue 2 on it. I don't know.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. So yeah, but then let's see. We already talked about G. After that, I did Dawn, which was in the barber shop. Is that the next one you went to by chance?
I think it was.
Okay, this was cool because um, you just ask a guy, you're asking your regular weird questions, and if anybody knows martial arts, and some dude mentioned this barber shop, so you go in there, and he says, "All right, I'll talk to you while I give you a haircut," and he sits you down, and he says to be brave and stay calm to make the right decision. That's the one. That's the Don Wudu. We haven't been saying each of them as we've been talking about them, but Don is be brave, stay calm in order to judge correctly.
Mhm.
So he sits you down and he puts a razor to your throat, and there's a quick time event for like a good like 5 seconds. You want to mash the A or the X button, but if you do, you actually fail that quick time event. And he tells you that you're not patient or something along those lines, so you have to leave and come back. But
Did
you,
you fail it the first time?
I sure did. Yeah, because I was half paying attention, then I just saw the QT. I'm like, hit the button, and he's like, and then it made that sound, and I'm like, wait, what? So had to kill time. If I had a solid complaint about this part of the game, it's that I could not fast forward time yet. And so I had to go around and kill an entire day because this was like in the morning that this
Oh,
happened to me. Yeah, it sucked. But then you just go back, you don't hit the QuickTime event button, and then he talks you through different stuff and says, go to the Bloom Taylor, yada yada, go check out all these places. But I thought that was neat though, that it was a QuickTime event that you have to fail to progress.
yeah, I thought that was a really neat touch. And you could tell this dude's seen some shit in his time.
Yes.
Like, he is like a really like stone faced dude that like he has done some shit in his time. You could tell, and
Hmm.
he was awesome. I really liked his character. I remember playing this part. I've done this part so many times from previous playthroughs, so I knew not to do it, but it's still like you still kind of just want to do it because you're just so used to doing those quick time events. So I had just like make myself like not press anything.
Yeah. It
And
sits there for a while.
yeah, it does. But then Rio tells him, he's like, I could feel the blade, but I could feel that there was like no like
No threat
evil
or something.
intentions or something, yeah,
Uh-huh.
behind it. And so I thought, yeah, that was a really cool part. It was really fast too. Like you're only in there for a little bit before you get
Right.
that one, and then he sends you on to the next, like the Bloom Taylors, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so far gone. That was practice without neglect. That was with Jeanmun, the Iron Palm in the park. And then G was the phrase for that was do not show or use your moves thoughtlessly. Then Don was be brave, stay calm in order to judge correctly. And now we have to get up to Yi, which is to act with it. How's it? Bleh, to act with it. Oh my God. To act without hesitation to do what is right. Um, and that is when you get to the martial arts school and talk to the dude who's wiping soot off the walls. And he's just like, fuck this. You look like a sucker. You can do my job, Rio.
That was
And
the
Rio's
best
an idiot.
part. So basically, you get there and you have to kind of sneak your way into it because there's a guy sweeping, and you tell him, he's like, I need to see your master. He's like, but we're closed, and so you have to keep going back and forth. And finally, you convince him to run off and go talk to him. And Rio's like, okay, here's my chance. And you run into the temple and you see that guy wiping soot off the wall, and yeah, he tricks you. And he's like, yes, if you have to pay service or something like that, and then you could see the master. And so he gives you the thing, and you hear him in the background as he's like, oh, I have to do service in the library. And
Right.
as he's leaving the door, you can hear him go like, yee or
Oh, yeah.
something. I cracked up laughing at that part. I don't remember hearing that part when I played it before, but that was
Uh-huh.
just such a funny touch that he was able to do that of the
Yeah.
players.
Oh God. Rio's an idiot. Rio just had like I mean, he is definition small town dude. Like he just does not understand people pulling one over him and like just any he can't read a room or anything.
He is like the like a what it would be maybe as like a hillbilly going into the big city and be
Just
like
about, yeah.
and just all the hijinks that ensue. Like I mean, this is kind of that same type of story. But could you imagine just like some evil guy killed this like hillbilly in his hometown, and the hillbilly now has to go to like New York City to track down this like crime boss, and then like
Yes.
all this stuff. That would be the kind of the Americanized version of Shenmue, which would be ridiculous.
Yep. Somehow starring Chris Farley, if that could happen.
So yeah, so you basically have to start wiping all the soot off the walls. I remember
You
when I was playing,
could if you wanted to.
and I not this time. I kind of remember the general locations of where they were, so I was able to go find them rather quickly. But I remember one time I wanted to wipe all the soot off all the walls just to
Oh
really get
no.
that shit clean.
Does it well, I didn't do it long enough to notice. Does it kind of clean off the spots randomly, or like do you, if you're standing in front of a wall and just what's in front of you, if you keep clicking on that one part of wall, because I notice he only cleans like kind of at eye level, does he clean up and down, or is it only at
No,
eye level?
that's the problem, and that's what really pisses me off. Is like it's
Hmm.
only he does this like really shitty job. It's kind of like haphazard. He just kind of does it. I'm like, man, there's so much there that you didn't clean. You got to do a better job than that. And
Uh-huh.
so he doesn't get it all clean, which really bothers me. Um, but so then you're basically having to find the Wude symbols
Right.
beneath the soot, and then do you end up finding the Yi at the end, or do you just find
Uh
all the ones that you found up to that point?
I only actually found two, because there's so when you enter the actual shrine, you run into the dude clean the walls like almost immediately on your right. But if you go all the way around to the back, kind of parallel to where you walked in, the shrine is back there, and on the right and left side is where you have to clean off to initiate, the next part
Mm.
anyway. So I only saw two symbols. Are all four the symbols in the temple?
I think I know for a fact I got at least three,
Oh, interesting.
but I don't because there was one to the right that I found,
Yeah.
and then there was I found two on either side of that like that main altar on the
Right.
far side of the room when you walk in,
Yep.
and I think after that third one it then initiated that scene of the masters coming in.
Yeah, Okay, interesting. Yeah, I only did the two on the like near the shrine in the back. I didn't know that they're I mean, I guess that makes sense that the four of them would be there. But it's also kind of weird they would just have them on the walls rather than, I don't know, maybe represented on scrolls hanging up or something. But
And then the thing is,
uh,
like, what are they doing in there that they get that much soot in
yeah, I
that
mean the
room?
things
Like,
are always running, but not that much.
like
It's not a freaking factory.
that's crazy. And or are they just now deciding to wipe off the walls after like 40 years of
Right.
stuff? Like,
Yeah,
it's weird.
maybe. That's very crazy. But yeah, so that's yes, so that happens. You clean those off, and then you encounter shit. I need to write down everybody's name that ever does anything in this game. Let me check here. Let's see, what is her name? Gyung Zhang. Nope. Oh, damn it, Marson. You're the one that
Are
corrects
you
me on
talking
these
about
things.
which one are you talking about? The old lady?
The lady in the blue.
Well, at first she was called Li Xiao Tao,
Right.
and
Yes.
then her real name though is Jiwing Hong.
Okay.
Jiwing.
Sure.
Morrison would know
Yep.
the proper pronunciation.
Yeah, yeah. So you wipe this off, and then you basically ask more questions and want to know this thing, that thing, this thing, and she says that you're not ready. Even though you do know the four Wudu, she doesn't feel like he's ready to actually. He's just not ready. Basically, he's not. He's too impatient, and so for some reason, she offers her room to Rio. And as an 18-year-old boy, you spend the night in an older woman's place.
I want to back up
Uh,
a minute
oh, sure.
because Ryu acted like a total asshole
Oh,
because he
yes,
the
yes,
whole
yes.
time he's thinking that I forget the guy's name, but her it's like another master of the temple. He thinks the whole time that guy's Li Tao, and so
Oh, that's right.
she
Yep.
comes in talking to him and says like you're not ready. He's like I'm not talking to you, woman, or he said
Yes.
something to that
Yeah. He
effect. And
said.
it's
Oh,
like,
he says,
whoa.
I'm talking to the master," and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
And yeah, I was like, man, that it was kind of cringy. And the guy's like, that is the master. He was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh
I
boy.
think did we completely skip over the part before this though? Because you have to go find
Oh yeah. Shoot.
you
We
have to go
skipped one of the Wude, or
yeah,
sort of. It's this. It's still part of this
it's
Wude.
part of this one, yeah, but you have to find the older lady. It's like Ji Wing Lee, I think her name is. You
Yeah.
see her in the apartment
Yantian.
earlier in the game where she says that she thinks you're one of the like the
I thought she called you a loan shark. Apparently, it's land shark, and that is the gang that harasses her.
yes, she thinks
Um,
I thought it was Loan Shark too.
yeah.
And
Well, maybe it's a lost in translation thing, but it definitely said in when I was playing it that I'm not one of the land sharks.
that's hilarious. So
Yeah.
you come up upon her like in this it almost was like a junkyard looking area
Yeah,
and
near the Yanti apartments is I
right.
think it's. Yep.
And then there is a group of guys, the land sharks, I guess. The gang members are about to like attack her. They're like just strong arming her to take money or something from her. And you
Hmm.
come in and you basically you stop them, and then it cues up a fight scene where you have to
Yeah,
fight like
it's
four different guys. That wasn't too hard for me. I
no,
did have to stop it and like relook at the just the different combinations of like
just
punching and kicking
your
everything like that
yeah,
because
your
it's been a
move
little
sets.
bit since you've actually had to fight at that
Right.
point, I think. But that was pretty easy, but I really like her character. She's just this cranky old lady, but she's also a master Tai Chi. She's a
That's
badass.
yeah, pretty great. Yeah. Yeah, because I kind of thought that too, or I thought at first when you first encounter her, just like blocking the stairwell, she's saying like, "I won't pay you. I'm not going to leave here," and I'm just like, "What are you? You could get snapped in half. What are you talking about?" But yeah, apparently she does know her martial arts. So, but yeah, you defend her from the land sharks, and then she um, what does she do? She doesn't remember the name of something. Where'd it go here in my notes? Let me see here.
Yeah, she
Uh,
says she forgets, but then go ask Master Mo at Mamo Temple.
right. Yeah. So yeah, that was yeah. I've completely glossed over that part. Yeah. So that was kind of part of the fourth Wudu, and then you do go there, and then Rio's a sexist pig, and then and then she, the actual master. Let's see here. Her name. Do. So her name. Okay, so the old lady couldn't remember her name, but this is who you were trying to talk to, right?
Yes, her real name. You think she's Li Xiaotao, but I think that's just a fake name that she goes by. But her real name is Jiwing Hong.
Hmm. And so, yeah, she says that basically Rio needs some training. He needs to. He's not. He's jumping in a little over his head. So, um, she kind of says that I'll help you tomorrow. You can stay at my place, and I'm just like, why? He has a place to stay. um, but he, what is it? He says something that kind of leads to like, oh, we're in the same room or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, to the point that she says like, you're sleeping on the couch or something like that.
and she
And
grabs a blanket and like throws it on the couch, and he's like, "Oh,
right, yeah, and he's like, I can't complain. I'm like, what? What? I just don't.
oh,
Oh man, that's something that A, he should have said internally, and
yeah."
B, the way he says it sounds like he's like just gonna watch her sleep and enjoy every second of it or something
This
like
goes
that.
back to my son asking to the effect of like, why does he not have any inner monologue? And he just like
Yeah.
says his thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
He probably should have just kept that one to himself.
Oh
Had,
my
had he ran that one
god.
back, he had the opportunity to just kind of do that one over again. He probably would
And
have
he
taken that one back.
yeah, and he does even just kind of stare at her for a second when they're falling asleep. He's got his arms like behind his head and just looking and staring up, still saying nothing, thinking nothing, then he falls asleep in the clothes that he's been wearing for 2 weeks.
Creepy ass dude.
Yeah, and then he gets woken up by a little girl with laundry or something, and she's like, master is asking for you in the library, or not the library. Just ask to meet with him or whatever. Um, so it's weird. Fang Mei, that's her name. Fang Mei Zun. She's the assistant, the 8-year-old assistant. But yeah, let's see here.
Well,
Sorry.
I do want to say, so for me, this is basically where my time stopped in the game,
Oh,
because
okay.
after you go to sleep that night, that's the end of disc 1. And then
Right.
you have to pop in disc 2. So, like as I said, originally I'm playing the European Dreamcast version of the game on my North American Dreamcast. I've been using a boot disc. It's the Silvariant PSO patcher and boot disc, and so this is what I started using when I was playing PSO online, Fantasy Star online again, and that had been working fine. But when it told me to put in the next disc, I just tried putting in the next Shenmue disc 2, and it said that it couldn't be read or something like that. So it allowed me to save it, and so I knew that my save file was like right up at that point.
Wow.
But when I boot up, so I turn the Dreamcast off, put in the boot disc, then put in the Shenmue 2 disc, and it doesn't do anything. Like
Oh no.
it says it's reading it, but it won't do anything. So I think I'm gonna go try to get just a different boot disc and see if that will work for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other out there. I think the Utopia boot disc I might give a try
Yep.
and see if that one will work better for me. So for me, at least, that's kind of where my journey ends. So I think you went a little bit further along, though, right, Scotty?
I did, and not much. Oh boy, I hated this part. Not many great things happen next. So you're in a library, and the one of her assistants says, "Hey, this is what we're doing. We're airing out the books. So what you have to do is pick up stacks of books." And walk outside to put them on tables outside where he's going to air them out, and then. But to do that, it's a mini game essentially, because when you pick up a book, you can only now go forward by pressing. You can only progress like take a step at all by hitting up with the directional stick or button, the D-pad or the thumbstick, or you can run with R2 or the right shoulder button like you've been doing. So I, of course, kept running, but dropping books, because when you're about to drop books, you have to hit either left, right, up, or down. And oh my God, it sucks. But um, it sucks in the terms that if you get you start at 9 o'clock, if you get it all done by noon, you unlock a new move and you progress with the story. If you drop a book, or if you drop a stack of books, then you lose 15 minutes of time. And so I sure did not do this in time for the first morning or the second time either. But because of that, you can't just turn around after 12 p.m. and go back in and do it again. You have to wait till the next day. And there was not a way to speed it up the first time, until I actually stumbled across the next part. So you're supposed to air out the books, and then you find out. Let me take a look here. Let's see. Okay, yes. So you have to air out the. Damn it! I lost my place. I can edit all this magically. No, but airing out the book sucks, and let's see, that's where. Oh yeah, okay. So I eventually made it to a kung fu shop where I asked about Wuling Shu, I think I'm saying that right. Wuling Shu, who wrote a book and has a connection to learning something again towards Landy and everything, or so you think anyway. And you find out that he once owned the Five Stars Corporation, that doesn't exist anymore. So this dude says, "Oh yeah, but he did write a book that's in the library." And I'm like, "Wait, the library? Is there more than one library? Because I was just in the library." No, it's the library that you were just in. So then if you go to the library, it'll say, "Oh, it's closed," because they close it after 12 p.m. And it let me wait till the next day, thank God. And I was like, "All right, cool." Go to the next day, follow my ass carrying stacks of books again. I never got it. So I think I actually missed out on learning a move because I didn't get that down. Because eventually, um, you approach the master and ask her, "Hey, can I go read this book? It looks like it's behind a locked door in here." And she's like, "I'll give you the key, but you need to learn patience." And I'm just like,
Uh,
God damn it. And that's the last thing I have right now in this
right.
game. And after that stupid book carrying mini game, I was so mad. I'm like, oh, whatever. What do I have to do? And so she's like, she keeps catching these red leaves near a big red tree that you guys are standing next to. And she's like, you need to catch a leaf and learn your patience. And so oh, this is one of the worst things I've done in video games.
It was I remember playing this my first time, and I it sucked so bad. It was so hard to get this down.
Yeah,
It was
it
not easy.
boy, and I had to look up a video guide to see like, am I doing this right? Well, I feel like I've never played a game in my life. And so what happens is there's a big beautiful red tree in front of you that has leaves falling through it from it, and you have to it's completely random, the patterns that fall down. So what you have to do is use the left or the right stick and look at the leaves, and it'll gradually zoom in on some, and there's just some light music playing in the background, but that's the only control you have, is just looking and zooming in on leaves. So eventually, if enough are falling, you'll zoom in long enough and you'll hear this slight swell of music, and then you can grab it and you can like snatch it with your two fingers, and it's just like a quick little. You miss it, and then you just get so mad because every time it's like I have to focus on one leaf. I have to
Mhm.
learn my patience. Like, oh, Rio. But so you do it once, and she's like, "You are still not patient enough," or something like that. I'm like, "Yeah, damn right he's not. He yelled at you like a day ago."
Mhm.
And so she's like, once you catch 3 leaves consecutively, then I will give you the key." And I'm just like, "God damn it, woman!"
Mhm.
But so, and it does mean that the game does mean that you have to catch them consecutively. So this is why I I know it might sound like I'm exaggerating, but I think I hated this more than anything I've done in either of these two games, combined with all of the random encounters and just everything. Because okay, cool. It's random that they fall down. That's fine. You zoom in, you learn, the music swells, you snatch a leaf. Okay, so you got to get 3 in a row. And that is true because if you get one and then you miss, you have to start over. Get two,
Ah,
you
it
miss, you have to
sucks.
start over every time. Yeah. So, and then, so I caught 2 leaves, and I'm like zooming in, I'm waiting, I'm watching, and then it just backs out. It just backs out of the mini game. I'm like, why did that happen? And I thought maybe, oh, dusk is going to come. Like it's going to change the time of day or something. No, no, it just backed out. There's no cutscene, there's no anything, and
Hmm.
that will happen randomly. It will just back you out of the thing. So you have to get them quickly, apparently. Um, so I did get 3, and then Master Li Xiao gave me the key. Thank God. Like it's such a weird thing, that whole leaf capturing moment. And I remember watching uh, Megavision staff member TJ Kitsune. He streamed this a long time ago, like before we were even part of Megavisions. And I remember watching this part. I'm like, I don't even understand, because I didn't have control of what he was playing, like how he was zooming into the leaf. And so I didn't even understand that he was zooming in or how he was catching them. It's such a weird moment in this game because there's not that many cues on what you need to do. And even like the description says like follow the leaf and zoom in. Well, there's like 4 or 5 phasings of actually zooming in before you can catch one. So it sucked. Maybe other people find it tranquil because you just have that beautiful tree behind you and that's all you're staring at. But oh boy. So she gives you the key, and you open up that door and grab a book, and you're reading through, and you see, okay, there's this interesting fighting styles that they have in there, and one of them is the Sungming Zhao, which is the master of Tiger Swallow style. And then when you read that, or when Rio reads that, he has a flashback, and he's like, that's what Londi mentioned. So he has a flashback when Londi asks his father, do you remember Sungming Zhao? And Rio's like, this is a link to why my father was killed. So it's this bit. It's the first time in the game that you have a relevant flashback to your father's death. Uh,
Mm.
and so he decides that Young Dao Zhu knows why my father died. And a piece of paper falls out, and it has these 4 symbols on it, which at first glance I was like, oh, that's the Big Dipper. Wait, no, it's not. That's not nearly as many stars as are in the Big Dipper. So you're not really sure what this piece of paper means, just that it fell out of the book. And when you do go out, you leave the library and then go out into the main area of the temple again. You learn a new move, or you get a move scroll for the horseshoe kick, which I did not learn yet because I decided, you know what, this is a good stopping point. A big like reveal happened in the story. But you get the horseshoe kick, and then you learn from talking to the little girl, her assistant, that maybe someone who sells antiques would know what this old piece of paper means or something like that, which is where I stopped. I know that last time we said we were going to stop at the Rent of Heavens, but coupled with a few different things, we decided this would be a good stopping point. But I thought this was really cool that finally something's being tied into his father's death, or at least so we think anyway. It could just be another item search or wild goose chase that leads to finding sailors. Who knows? But yeah, so it's do you remember? Did you ever get that far when you played forever ago, Chris?
Yeah, I got a bit farther than this.
Oh,
But
okay.
this is my, like, I think probably my early playthrough. I got pretty far into the game, but the last few times that I went back and played it, I haven't gotten much further than where we are right now. And so it's funny, like I as you were explaining a lot of that stuff, I've kind of forgotten a little bit about some of that stuff. So this week I'm definitely going to be going and back and getting caught up to where you ended, and then finishing up where we need to be for the following show.
Yeah, so I think next time around we're gonna go up through the what would be the end of disc 3, just before you head to Kowloon. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to actually explore more of the area and just do downtime things because I found myself kind of ignoring all of that. Aside from, I finally found the arcade. I didn't even mention that. And I played some Outrun and suck at that. Uh, and I have a challenge for when Marston's back on for you guys with the QTE1 game. I'll tell Marston in a side thing, but so what I'm referring to, and this could be a fun little competition we do. In the arcade, there's QTE1 and there's QTE2. QTE2 is a little more crazy, but we could try both of them. But for QTE1, my top score playing in one sitting was 159,718. So I challenge you guys to beat that for next time. That's the QTE1, which just has the 3 pads. So it's just the face buttons that you're doing. But you can get into a crazy rhythm doing that. I do kind of wish I was playing on the Dreamcast for this one, though, because the buttons are actually different colors, whereas the PlayStation face buttons are the different shapes, but they still have them on the like a dark kind of shadowy gray
Right.
background. But yeah, what do you think? Do you want to try to maybe see if we can who can get the highest score in that game?
Yeah, that sounds fun. I'm definitely up for that. So I'm gonna
Okay.
seek that out. I think this is like once we go to Kowloon City, I don't know if we come back.
Oh
And
no, is that
and
right?
so I'm not sure, but because I know there's you can go up and talk to several of the characters that you've met throughout your time and basically say goodbye to them. And so
Oh,
there's some neat conversations that can happen. And so that's
oh,
one thing, like before we go, that I think we'll need to make sure we do, and then we can kind of
okay.
talk about next time too. Just Ryu having that kind of like final goodbye to some of these characters. Maybe
Oh,
you can go up and talk to the racist Jamaican dude.
oh boy, I gotta kick his ass at darts one more time then. Yeah, that's for freaking sure. That's
Mhm.
pretty funny. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I forgot, sometimes that we're playing a game that has parts where you're just not going to go back. But um
This is, I mean, because it's not one of those true open world games,
right.
in the sense that you can go kind of anywhere you want. I mean, there's certain areas that are blocked off, and then as you progress, it's that's kind of the final point. You're not going to be able to go back to some of these other locations, and so you definitely want to make sure you kind of do what you want to do in these locations before you kind of advance. So
Gotcha. Okay. Does that okay. So does
Marissa
that
can tell us more on that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm fairly sure that we're getting close to that point.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. I'm learning new stuff every day,
Mhm.
or every show, or something.
And if I'm
Um,
wrong, and we have some of our patron peeps out there, let me know and correct me.
yeah, definitely. We do want to get more discussion going on everybody's experience with this game. It's a pretty cool thing. You can actually also hop in our Discord, and we'll start talking about this too. But yeah, so we're gonna head up and out to Kowloon for next time. And do you have any other final thoughts on where we've gotten up to, or anything in general, Chris?
Um, Nothing so much. Like I am really enjoying my time with it again. Like it's such a fun game to go back and play. But like as we go along and as I've like taken more time with it, I am kind of reminded about just how out of place Ryu still is.
So incredibly, yeah,
And it is really funny to kind of see that. And like I think it's going to continue to be that way. I'm really looking forward to seeing his continued growth as a character. And just, I mean, at the same time, you got to consider he's still a kid too. He
yep,
doesn't really have a lot of world experience, and
right.
he's been in a small village for what we know, like his whole life. And now
Hmm.
he's like in this crazy foreign city, experiencing all these new things. And it's really interesting to see kind of how him grow as he's like learning the Wude, as he's getting exposed to different martial arts like the Tai Chi and all these other ones. And then he's also being taught by different masters.
Right.
And I'm just really looking forward to see him continue to grow as a not only just as a human, but also as a martial artist. And I think it's you already can see it, even where we're at right now. Like he's learning his patience, he's learning all these the art of the Wude, and he's learning to integrate those like just in his daily life. So I think that part is really cool.
Yeah, it is. He is growing, and definitely from the first game to this one, because the first game he was very timid and just kind of asked a lot of questions, but but would back down if people just didn't give him answers.
Mhm.
But well, yeah, he's turned into an asshole a little bit in this one too. But um, yeah, it is interesting. You don't really think about that because he is and we wouldn't see that growth if he didn't talk to himself a little bit here and there,
Mhm.
which is interesting. But yeah, no. So I'm still enjoying this. The leaf part was horrible. I hate catching leaves. I'm so glad that's behind me. Good luck with that, Chris. But so yeah,
Not
we're
looking
gonna
forward
keep.
to it, but
No, it's I looked up a strategy guide, like a video walkthrough, and this guy just clips them all easily like it's nothing. I'm just like, fuck you. Of course this is nothing. So yeah, but yeah, we'll keep playing through here. Follow us along. Be sure to check the description for the strategy guide that we are following, everybody. I'll link the lovely video of the NPCs being stupid. And otherwise though, you can, of course, always follow us on the different outlets: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the website itself, megavisionsmag.com. If you just search for Megavisions Magazine on all those, you'll find us there. Be sure to spread the word of our Patreon and bring people into that. Otherwise, though, I have been Scotty Manmo Temple, and with me today has been Chris, who did find all four of his Wude
all the Wude right here, baby.
that you do so well. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Continue to be grateful, and I can't complain.
All right, see you next time.
Yeah.